I can't risk putting him in big positions in a big spot and have something go wrong. Yeah, especially the White House card.
Jon Jones, the legendary UFC champion recently snubbed by Dana White for the historic White House UFC event due to the risk factor, has now received a shocking alternative offer that could shake the entire combat sports world. Instead of stepping into the octagon under the UFC banner, Jones is suddenly staring at a game-changing opportunity that might rewrite his career path and capture global attention.
In White House. Are you participant? Are you doing something? If that's not happening, I've got an alternative for you. Red Square. Would you like to travel in the Red Square?
I'm contractually obligated to the UFC program.
Okay. Now, listen. If we agree with Dana White, we can bring you to the Red Square as an alternative. White House card. Dana, I'll speak to you, my friend. And we get someone like Fedor Emelianenko to box you. You all?
No one wants to see Fedor and I fight. I don't want to fight Fedor. I promise you know Fedor. He's been one of my big idols for a very long time.
Are you the kind of guy, if you love the guy, you want to fight him?
Yeah, I'm saying we have to do, but you know, these guys are in
This man is a very, very nice guy. True fighter and very good human being. Brother.
Stay tuned, because this story takes a wild turn right from the start. It all began when Donald Trump announced that on July 4, 2026, the UFC would host a historic, once-in-a-lifetime event at the White House. The news instantly shook the world, and Jon Jones wasted no time. He declared he was coming out of retirement and revealed he had already begun the process of re-entering the UFC's anti-doping testing pool, signaling his intent to make a monumental return.
2 weeks, maybe less than that. That gets a bit blurry depending on what the timeline is. But according to Twitter, his Twitter, not general hearsay, Jon Jones has unretired. That is correct.
But here's where things get absolutely brutal. Dana White completely crushed Jon Jones's comeback dream, publicly stating that he couldn't trust him for such a massive high-profile event. Imagine being widely regarded as the greatest fighter of all time, only to be told you're too risky to headline the biggest UFC event in history. Talk about a gut punch. Yet, Jones refused to let that rejection break him, and instead, the story takes an unexpected and electrifying turn, all the way to Russia.
Did you just retire, Jon?
I sure did, Nami.
But did you mean it?
I did at the time, but I do know that everyone loves a good comeback, right, guys?
This past weekend, Jon Jones traveled to Russia as the guest of honor at an IBA bare-knuckle boxing event. And that's where the story took a cinematic twist. Al Siesta, the head of IBO Boxing, approached Jones with an offer straight out of a movie. He asked bluntly, "Jon, you know that White House card, are you on it?" Jones replied confidently, "I'd like to be working toward it." That's when Siesta dropped the bombshell. "If that's not happening, I've got an alternative for you. How about Red Square? Would you like to make history there?"
You know that card in White House. Are you participant? Are you doing
I'd like to be in Washington.
If that's not happening, I've got an alternative for you. Red Square. Would you like to travel in the Red Square?
I'm contractually obligated to the UFC program.
Okay. Now, listen. If we agree with Dana White, listen, bring you to the Red Square as an alternative. White House card. Dana, I'll speak to you, my friend. And we get someone like Fedor Emelianenko to box you. You all?
No one wants to see Fedor and I fight. I don't want to fight Fedor. I promise you know Fedor. He's been one of my big idols for a very long time.
Are you the kind of guy, if you love the guy, you want to fight him?
Yeah, I'm saying we have to do, but you know, these guys are in
This man is a very, very nice guy. True fighter and very good human being. Brother.
Red Square, the very heart of Moscow and one of the most iconic landmarks on the planet, was the stage Al Siesta envisioned for Jon Jones. He even floated the idea of bringing in a legend like Fedor Emelianenko, the man Joe Rogan has often called the greatest heavyweight of all time, to make the spectacle truly historic. But here's the shocking twist. Jon Jones turned it down. Why would the GOAT of MMA walk away from such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? Let's break down his surprising
Fedor
response.
was the hardest. That motherfucker never changed his expression. He was beating people into a bloody pulp, and he looked like he was sipping tea. Yes. He was a special guy.
That mentality.
Oh my God, he was a special guy. He fought Kevin Randleman, and Kevin Randleman
Yes.
suplexed him on his neck, threw him through the air, and slammed him on his neck. And within moments afterwards, Fedor had him in an armbar.
Just a machine.
He was a machine.
And just
Stoic.
stoic and deceiving.
And Fedor, in pride, was one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest heavyweight ever.
Yes. Yeah.
He was a monster.
You'd expect John Jones to leap at the chance to fight a legend like Fedor, especially after Dana White publicly shut him down, but instead, Jones displayed pure class and heartfelt respect. His response was nothing short of beautiful. No, one wants to see Fedor and me fight. I don't want to fight Fedor. I love Fedor. He's been one of my big idols for a long time. It's the same with Anderson Silva. These guys inspired me in my youth, and that will never change. This moment revealed so much about Jones's character despite all his controversies. He genuinely honors the legends who paved the way. For him, Fedor, now 48 and retired since his 2023 knockout loss to Ryan Bader, is a figure Jones clearly reveres. On top of that, Jones acknowledged he's contractually tied to the UFC for a long time, meaning that even if he wanted to explore alternative fights, his hands...
We say this about John's got a dark side. Got a dark side. John Jones is when the stuff was going on during COVID and there was riots and people were spray painting, John Jones went into town and was taking spray cans out of people's hands and slapping them and saying, "Go home, get out of my town." And I consider John Jones the greatest combat fighter of all time. When you talk about the Alis and the this and that, let me tell you what, I got Ali's picture hung everywhere. I love Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
I love Mike Tyson. John Jones is the nastiest dude ever.
The man with a rare and fascinating claim to fame. He's reportedly the only person to ever knock out John Jones. This shocking moment didn't happen in a fight under the bright lights, but during a private sparring session years ago, back when Jones was the reigning light heavyweight champion. Amigov, who was just a welterweight at the time, stunned everyone by landing a perfectly timed spinning back kick that dropped the seemingly untouchable champion.
Are you remember this guy?
Amagov?
Yes, Amagov.
Alan Amagov. KO. Very true story. Spinning back. Knee down. It's okay. It's okay. Sometimes it happens. Next time.
Carlos Condit?
Carlos Condit, yes, yeah. Carlos Condit, me, Carlos. One day, Adlan, two people.
At the Russian event, Jones and Amigov shared a playful rematch, a quick 10-second touch spar that ended with Jones getting caught in a body lock. Laughing it off, Jones jokingly told the crowd the score was now 2-0 for the Russians, saying, "Not again." Moments like this show a humble and self-aware side of Jones, especially considering his official record is virtually spotless. So, what does all of this mean? John Jones is clearly hungry to return, yet he's trapped between Dana White's distrust and the restrictions of his UFC contract. Still, the fact that he's receiving major international offers proves that his global star power remains absolutely
John wants
massive.
the fight to happen today, and I don't mean like the fight to actually be fought today, but like done deal today. It could be a done deal today. It's up to him. I guess we're gonna find out. We know Tom wants this fight.
Yeah,
right?
No doubt.
We know the UFC wants this fight. We're gonna find out how much John wants this fight.
John Jones's approach demonstrates a level of maturity and respect that fans rarely get to see. But it also raises a big question: is he being too selective, or is he simply smart for waiting on the perfect opportunity? One thing is certain, this story is far from over. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any updates. And drop your thoughts in the comments. Should Jones have accepted the historic Red Square fight against Fedor? Thanks for watching MMA Breakdown.
Fight for the title at the White House.
And Dana shut it
Dana's
down.
like, nope, I can't trust John
Yeah.
to not fuck something up.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
I can't risk putting him in big positions in a big spot and have something go wrong. Yeah, especially the White House card.
So just as John Jones was expressing how much he really wanted to fight at the White House, Dana White says no. He has put his foot down on John Jones, and he claims that he cannot risk John Jones at the White House. Absolute Cinema, he's done with
The
John.
longtime UFC commentator and podcast king has sent a powerful message. fully backing Dana White's controversial decision to ban Jon Jones from the upcoming White House UFC event. But here's the real kicker. This isn't just about one fight. It could mark the beginning of the end for Bones Jones's legendary career. Stay tuned, because we're breaking down why even Joe Rogan, one of Jones's most loyal supporters, now believes Dana White made the right
For what,
call.
I gotta give people flowers. I gotta give people flowers when they deserve them. Shout out to Dana White for saying I can't have Jon Jones I can't have him on the White House card. It's too much of liability, and I respect the fact. Hopefully, he can hold his word.
It all began with the bombshell announcement that shook the combat sports. World President Donald Trump revealed that the UFC would bring the Octagon to the White House lawn for a historic 4th of July pay-per-view event. It's completely unprecedented. The biggest stage in MMA meeting the most powerful office in America. For Jon Jones, this was the moment he'd been waiting for. He immediately scrapped his retirement plans, re-entered the UFC anti-doping testing pool, and declared that this was now his ultimate purpose. For a fighter who has already conquered every challenge in the sport, the chance to represent his country on the White House lawn felt like the perfect capstone to an already legendary
retirement campaign, whatever you want to call that last chapter. The effect it had was to demoralize the fan base. And now he thinks he can come out there and be like, I'm back in the gym. Bye. You're not wanted.
Oh, you just retired. Now we're going to be able to fight at the White House July 4th. You're getting back in the testing pool, and then you obviously think you can fight for the heavyweight championship.
But here's where the story takes an unexpected twist. Dana White had initially envisioned Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall as his dream headliner for the historic White House event, a fight that could have been one of the biggest in UFC history. Yet almost overnight, everything changed. At the UFC 318 post-fight press conference in New Orleans, White dropped the hammer, saying, "You know how I felt about him. I can't risk putting him in big positions, in a big spot, and have something go wrong, especially the White House card." With that statement, the dream matchup was dead, and the doubts about Jones's future grew louder.
About him winning the belt. I thought about him. I can't risk putting him in big positions, in a big spot, and have something go wrong, especially the White House card.
Jon Jones has officially been labeled too much of a liability for the biggest UFC event in history, and now even Joe Rogan is backing that decision. This is where the story takes a truly surprising turn. Rogan, who has followed Jones's entire career, has witnessed every high, every low, and everything in between. You'd think he would jump to defend the fighter he's praised for over a decade, right? Wrong. Reflecting on Jones's journey, Rogan pointed out that when Jones first captured the UFC title at just 23 years old, the world was at his feet, but the challenges outside the cage have always loomed just as large as the ones inside.
It's just been destruction
Yeah.
of everyone ever since. Never ducked anybody, fought all the best, destroyed everybody, has dominated his division, went up to heavyweight, dominates at heavyweight.
So why?
He's just the greatest of all time. He's 37 years old and he's still the greatest.
On the latest JRE MMA show with Khalil Roundtree Jr., Joe Rogan was
a fight for the title at the White House. Dana's like, nope, I can't trust Jon to not fuck something up.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
But also, what are you going to say when Jon
claimed that Jon Jones was demanding $30 million to fight Tom Aspinall, with rumors suggesting the UFC was willing to pay? However, Joe Rogan later had to walk back those claims after Dana White contacted him directly, calling the rumors now. Rogan is singing a different tune, saying, "Give the man all the time he wants. He can fight whenever he wants to fight. That's Jon Jones. He's the GOAT. So, leave him alone." But then comes the reality check at some point. The UFC has to decide who the true heavyweight champion is. If Tom Aspinall is holding the interim title and Jon ultimately decides he doesn't want to fight anymore, then he has that option, but the division can't.
Joe Rogan is hearing rumors about Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, and he says that the rumor is Jon Jones is asking for $30 million to fight Tom Aspinall. Will the UFC meet his demands? $30 million.
The subtext is clear. Jon Jones's time as an active champion might be running out, whether he likes it or not. So here's the million-dollar question: is Jon Jones over? Let's look at the facts. First, he's been shut out of the biggest UFC event in history by his own promotion. Second, his strongest media ally, Joe Rogan, is publicly backing that decision. Third, he's under mounting pressure to either face Tom Aspinall or risk losing his title. But here's where things get interesting. Rogan still believes Jones will fight Aspinall, and when he does, he'll be absolutely terrifying. Speaking to Ilia Topuria, Rogan said, "Jon's a conqueror. I think he can't sit back." The guy developed a spinning back.
You guys right now, as a person that has been involved in big fights, a person that has sold pay-per-views person that at his time was at the top of the pay scale. $30 million was literally a world away from anything we were making. I remember when I got paid in New York, I got like a big bump to take a fight on 3 weeks' notice, which ultimately became my salary. And people were astounded with the number. But hold on, let me see. Let me look at the gate from Madison Square Garden. $16 million gate. That's a massive gate. That's a massive gate from John Jones. Okay, how many pay-per-views did they sell? Now, when you start looking at it like that, you start going, I don't know if his ask is as crazy as people are saying. No, that ask is not so crazy.
Yeah, I want that.
So, there you have it. John Jones now finds himself in completely unfamiliar territory. For the first time in his career, he's not being shielded or promoted by the UFC's biggest voices. Instead, he's being held accountable. Joe Rogan's public backing of Dana White sends a clear message. Even legends have to earn their place on the biggest stages. The historic White House event will move forward without Jones, but his legacy now hangs in the balance. That's all. For today's MMA Central News, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for all the latest UFC updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.